Hey, welcome guys to the RISHU Astrology channel, your very own astrology channel, and this is a very special episode today as in this particular episode or in this particular video we'll talk about the 10th house in Vedic astrology, which as you all know is the as I've previously spoken about it, that after the first house, the 10th house in the Vedic chart is the second most powerful house in as considered to be in Vedic astrology. And why is 10th house considered to be one of the most important houses in Vedic astrology is the fact that that it is the house of our career. It is the house that governs that what name and reputation, what kind of a name, fame and reputation will we enjoy in the society, and why this house controls career, why this house controls the name, fame and reputation in our society, because this house is placed exactly opposite the fourth house. Now, fourth house is the house of our physical home, our mother, who emotionally nourishes us. Fourth house is the house of the people who are there with us, no matter whether we are a good individual or whether we are a bad individual. Fourth house is a house wherein the mother or the people who are in our family, they bestow onto us one of the most purest, esoteric, one of the most besotted and one of the most enigmatic esoteric love in the world. But the 10th house is exactly opposite the fourth house. That is, when we are into the 10th house, we are leaving behind the luxuries, the conveniences, the comforts of the home, and we are stepping out into that big bad world, big bad dirty world, in order to earn a livelihood, or in order to earn or make a name, fame and reputation for ourselves. 10th house is the house where we are facing the harsh realities of life, and we are proving our worth, that what exactly is our worth in society by the deeds that we do. And that is why it is called the house of livelihood, and that is why 10th house is given a prime importance in a Vedic chart when it comes to deciphering out the career. And the other reason that the 10th house is given a special importance in a Vedic chart, because it's the 10th house. 10th house governs the part of the sky that is exactly above the head. That is, like, if a particular individual is born on this particular day of this particular year, on this particular time, then at that particular time when he was born, the portion of the sky, that the portion of that zodiac that was exactly above his head becomes the 10th house, governs the 10th house in his Vedic chart, and that is the supreme position in the sky. So although this house is originally owned by Saturn, and it has got the energy of the sign Capricorn, but irrespective of that fact, since this house is the topmost house, it's the zenith in that sky, it's the apex and the culmination point in the sky, so every planet is kind of feels very privileged. It kind of feels very good whether it is placed in the when it is placed in the 10th house. Now, Sun is the arch enemy of the Saturn, but even Sun does exceptionally well when it is placed in the 10th house in a Vedic in the Vedic chart. And that's the reason, because 10th house is the most powerful house, irrespective of it being owned by Saturn, which is the arch enemy of the Sun or Moon. But Sun and Moon does do, in fact all of the planets do exceptionally when they are placed in the 10th house of a particular horoscope. But before I start telling you that what results would a particular planet give when they are placed in the 10th house of a horoscope, I would like to tell you beforehand that this is not an episode which is actually dedicated to that career thing, because in order to decipher out the career, there are a lot more things that are taken into consideration other than the planet placed in the 10th house. Because we for that particular thing, we have to look that let's suppose moon is placed in the 10th house of a particular person's chart, and we go to decipher his career. Then not only we will have to take into consideration that that he'll be associated with the professions associated with the planet moon, but there will be a great degree of change depending upon which sign the moon is placed in, depending upon which nakshatra the moon is placed in. And then in order to further authenticate our judgment, we have to look in that moon that is placed into the 10th house is the lord of which particular house in the Vedic chart that we are studying. And then in order to decipher out the career, we got to also look at that where is the lord of the 10th house placed. So if moon is, let's suppose, placed in the sign of Aries, then in order to authenticate, in order to further strengthen our accuracy levels, we got to also look at that where is the planet. Now moon in the sign of Aries in the 10th house, that means 10th house is governed by Mars. Since Aries is controlled by Mars, so we have to look at where Mars is placed at, because other than the planet that is placed in the 10th house, it is the lordship of the 10th house that becomes more important. And then we have to look at the D9 chart of the person, the D10 chart of the person, the D7 chart of the person, in order to decide that which particular career he's going to go into. We also got to take into consideration that the dasha systems, that which particular planetary period is the person running into. That also plays a kind of a major difference. So in order to reach at that level, wherein we can actually take all those things into account and actually pinpoint that this is the career that the person will surely be into, we will have to hone up our skills. At least it's going to take 100 episodes from now onwards, and gradually as we cover up each episode, your accuracy levels, your knowledge of Vedic astrology is going to multiply, and finally you will reach a stage. Maybe even let's suppose it could be possible that after 50 episodes of mine from now onwards, you might be in a state where you can predict somebody's career with if not more than at least you can predict the career the person is into with an accuracy percentage of 70 to 80%. But it's all gonna take time, and that is a totally different topic altogether. And when I'll be taking the career series, I'll be taking up the charts of the various celebrities. I'll be taking the chart of the people from the different spheres of life, be it with the politicians, be it with the people associated with the cinema, be it with the people associated with the sports, be it with people associated with the entertainment industry. So I'll show you their charts, and backed up by the planetary combinations or backed up by my teachings, I would authenticate that stuff by showing you that why those people went into that particular field, why a sports person went into sports, or why this particular person went into the glamour or the cinema industry. So this particular episode is not about the career, but yes, I'll tell about a brief about that what a particular planet placed in the 10th house can make you go into, which is just a small part of deciphering out a career, which is just a small part of what all goes into deciphering out a career by looking at a Vedic chart. So guys, what if the planet Mars is placed in the 10th house of a person's horoscope? Well, if Mars is placed in the planet Mars is placed in the 10th house of a person's horoscope, then that person could be into the fields like army, into the fields like he could be a policeman, or any of the jobs that are associated with the defense industry. He could be a sports person. He could be associated with any of the professions which are risky in nature. For example, he could be a surgeon. He could be a lifesaver. He could be a firefighter. He could be an ambulance driver. He could be a doctor, or he could be associated with he could be a nurse, or any of those medical staff members that are operating with the surgeon in the intensive care unit. He could be in the manufacturing of medicine, or he could be a doctor himself. He could possibly be in the manufacturing or something associated with the arms and ammunition and the explosives. He could be in the industry that is related to chemicals, especially the chemicals that are very explosive in nature, that are very inflammable, that are very prone to catching fire. So these are the professions that a particular person is likely to go into if Mars is placed in 10th house of a particular horoscope. And the other professions that Mars in the 10th house can indicate is that he can also be an electrical engineer, not the electronics and communication engineer, but he can be a core electrical engineer, or he can be associated with the fields like with the modern day fields like biomedical engineering or something like that. Now we have covered what all professions are possible if Mars is placed in the 10th house of a career. Now let us take what all professions can be seen if Mercury is placed in the 10th house in a particular horoscope. Well, if Mercury is placed in the 10th house in a person's horoscope, then the person is likely to go into the field of communications, the field of media and communications. He could be a disc jockey, he could be a radio jockey, he could be a journalist, he could be a newspaper columnist, he could be a writer, he could be a TV show host, or he could be a mimicry artist. He could be in the field of dancing. He could be a magician, since Mercury deals with hands. So any of the work where the skill of the hand is needed. So even if Mercury is, let's suppose if Mercury is in close association with the planet Rahu, then you can see somebody who is a magician from this particular placement. And what else Mercury can lead you into? The presence of Mercury in the 10th house can also make you good with numbers. So you could be a statistician, you could be a teacher of mathematics, you could be a sales and marketing guy, since Mercury is the planet of communications, that is communicating your thought and using your discretionary and the prudency levels to sell that product, as if there was no product like that in the market before. Now it may be a product that is designed to give the highest utility to the customers or not, but it's Mercury's communications. Mercury is a very manipulative planet that can actually sense that what is that the other people want to hear, and accordingly he can manipulate the stuff and design his integrated communications campaign. Like so many of the advertising guys, many of the guys who are into the field of marketing, who devise the marketing campaigns, those online marketing campaigns are seen from Mercury. Then Mercury could be a language interpreter, since Mercury is the planet of communications. So it is also associated with the foreign languages. So it could indicate somebody who is good with the foreign languages, somebody who is a foreign language interpreter, somebody who is somebody who is a computer geek, somebody who is into computer engineering, somebody who is what all we can say, that those people who are involved in the animation industry, anything that has to do with creativity plus computers can be seen from Mercury being placed in the 10th house. And any of the business, Mercury is a planet of business. Mercury is the planet of using those computational analysis, those statistical tools, those calibration graphs, those pie charts, bar graphs. Mercury is all about taking the right decisions at the right time. So many of the business guys who are very economical, who are very sharp-minded, can be seen from this particular placement of Mercury. And now we have covered in Mars and we have covered in Mercury. Let's take a Venus now. What all professions we can see if Venus is placed in the 10th house in a particular horoscope? Well, Venus is a planet that is very soft in nature, that is very artistic in nature. So any of the artistic professions, any of the glamorous professions can be seen when Venus is placed in the 10th house of a particular person. So Venus in the 10th house can make you go into modeling, can make you go into cinema industry, can make you go into any of the industries, that is any of the works that or the jobs that are related to the glamour world. Venus can actually make you go into the fashion industry, or you could be a fashion apparel manufacturer. You could be in the manufacturing or the designing of gems and jewelry. You could be in the manufacturing of clothes. You could be in the manufacturing of wine, cigarettes, any of those alcoholic products, because all these, since Venus is a planet of luxuries, so any of those of those drugs that give you a kick, marijuana, cannabis, so all these professions can be associated with Venus if it is placed in the 10th house of a particular horoscope. Wine, and even wine, since Venus is the original controller of the house Taurus, so, and that has to do with eating. So Venus can also indicate indicate a person who is into the hotel industry, where I mean, Moon can also signify a person in the hotel industry, but Venus is the person who is at the forefront, in the hotel industry, in the glamour industry. Now coming to Moon, what sort of professions can we see if Moon is in the 10th house in a particular horoscope, in a particular person's horoscope? Then we can see any of the professions that is related to social work, that is related to taking care of the people in one manner or the other. That is, since Mother bestows onto us one of the most esoteric, one of the most purest and the divine love in this world. So Moon can be into any profession wherein you are extending your selfless love to the society. So you could be a social worker, you could be a chef. Making food for others is your goodwill gesture. This is the way you are showcasing your love for the people. You can be associated with the hotel industry or any of those industries that are related to service of any sort, where you are delivering, where you are taking care of people, where you are providing them a particular service. For example, taking care of the people, taking care of the children in the kindergarten could be associated with a planet like Moon. And Moon can also be associated with any of the industries that use water or the chemicals as a prime ingredient. So it could be Moon could be in the chemical industry, in the wine industry, in any of the industry that has to do with distilleries, those distilleries industries, or wine, as I have already told you, that Moon and Venus can be associated with the wine or the alcohol products. Moon can also be associated with poultry, farming, fishing, any of those professions, agriculture, any of those professions from where water is a prime ingredient. Milk products, mother dairies, the milk products in any form. It could be a chocolate, it could be the milk that you might be selling, or it could be any milk-made sweet products that you might be selling. So these are the possible professions that are seen when Moon is in the 10th house in a particular horoscope. So now we have discussed Mars, now we have discussed Mercury, we have discussed Venus, we have discussed Moon. Now what are the professions that are seen when Sun is placed in the 10th house of a horoscope? When Sun is placed in the 10th house of a horoscope, then Sun is a planet which governs our ego. Sun is the planet who is the blessed one. It's all about the people who govern the higher posts in the society. So these people are Sun in the 10th house will show people who are the CEOs, the CMOs, the COOs, the CXOs, or the people who are governing a very high rank in the multinationals, wherein their single decisions can change the life of hundreds of people who are working under them, like a king does. A king is the ruler of a territory, and one single decision of a king can affect the life of thousands of the individuals who are residing in his territory. Nowadays, we don't have kings, but it's like if a CEO puts a certain law into promulgation, then the things associated with that particular law could affect the income, could affect the lifestyle, could affect the job scenarios of any of the people who might be working in that MNC under that CEO. Sun is a great planet for getting into the politics, for getting into the ministerial jobs, especially the ministerial jobs of a very high rank, like prime ministers, presidents of countries, home ministers of countries. And now here might be one thing. There's one thing. You might be watching my episode and you might be having Sun in your 10th house, and you might be wondering that yes, I am associated with politics, but as this guy is saying that Sun is associated with the top-notch positions or with the higher ministerial jobs in the society, but I am just a normal member of a political party. Well, this is where the Vedic astrology comes into play, and this is why I tell that this is exactly not the right time where we shall make the decisions that which career is a person exactly can go into. For that, we have to be aware of many of the other principles, many of the other facts that are to be taken into consideration in order to decipher out the career thing. So, although the Sun in the 10th house can show a prime minister, but there is a great difference, and it can show a president also. But there is a great amount of difference between the powers that are vested in the hands of the president and in the hands of the prime minister. Similarly, while Sun can even show a home minister, there is a huge lot of difference between the power or the rank that is held by the president and the rank that is held by the home minister. Similarly, Sun can show somebody who is a welfare minister. So there is a great amount of difference between the power that is vested between the home minister and the person who is just a welfare minister or a defense minister. Now there is a great amount of difference even between the person who is a welfare minister and a person who is just associated with a political party. And again, there is a great amount of difference between somebody who is associated with a political party to somebody who is just representing a group of 10 individuals. Even he is playing the role of a Sun. He is leading a group of 10 people. Sun is all about the leadership thing. But to what extent you will go, how far you will go in your career, in order to decipher out that fact, a lot more things goes into consideration. For those of you who are kind of intrigued right now, or you are perturbed to exactly know that how we got to study each house and each planet, you may watch my episodes on. They are titled as how to make accurate predictions in astrology, and what are aspects in astrology, and what are nakshatras in astrology. These 3-4 episodes are personally, I feel that in these episodes I have given my best. So in case any of you are perturbed to go into the in-depth of astrology and find out your career, you can watch all those 4 or 5 episodes of mine, how to make accurate predictions in astrology, what are aspects in astrology, and what are nakshatras in astrology. And after that, after studying all those 4-5 episodes, you might be in a state that your accuracy levels when it comes to making any predictions is gonna reach altogether different high. Anyways, that's a different matter. We were divulging out of the task. So we have discussed the professions that are related to Sun. And now, what if Saturn is placed in the 12th house, in the 10th house of a particular horoscope? In a 10th house in a particular horoscope, then Saturn is a planet that is for the people, that is for the masses. Saturn knows that it's not a planet like a king. It doesn't have the qualities like intelligence, persona, wisdom, luck, and he's not the blessed one like the Sun. So if Saturn knows that if he is to reach anywhere near the Sun, that is, he can reach there by networking with people through his hard work. He is not the planet like Sun who the people would recognize. Like Sun is a ball of heat with a dazzling light that the people are normally allured to, that the people normally follow. They are kind of mesmerized by the aura of the Sun. But Saturn is kind of reaches to the top, to the pinnacle of success by networking with people, by doing his hard work. So even Saturn can be associated with the ministerial jobs, but these people kind of have a hard time to make it to the top, while Sun in the 10th house can immediately immediately make you go to the superior ranks. Saturn is a planet that will make you toil hard, but it will make you reach those higher posts. Even prime ministers and presidents of the countries have a 10th house Saturn. That is an indication of the fact that these days, since there is no king, so Saturn is also kind of Saturn in the 10th house is also kind of a very strong position, which is kind of kingly in character, because since these days there are no kings, so the ministerial jobs to an extent are controlled by Saturn as well. Now, Saturn can also be associated with the sanitation, with any of the jobs that are related to sanitation. Now, is he a normal worker doing a menial job in the sanitation department, or is he a minister of the public, or is he a minister of the people and the welfare department, of the municipal committee department? That altogether depends upon how strong that particular Saturn placed in the 10th house is. But he can go into all those jobs that are related to the people welfare, or the sanitation department, or any of the department that has to do with the municipalities. Saturn can make a person go into any of the businesses that have to do with iron, or that have to do with oil, since Saturn governs the iron and the oil thing in Vedic astrology. So, and what else example can I give you of Saturn? Saturn can actually take a person into social work, or Saturn is a very good indication for somebody who might be a businessman, who through his hard work, who through his perseverance, persistence, patience may go on to become one of the most prominent business tycoons in his country, or he may be recognized as a prominent industrial figure in the city he is residing in. And what else is associated with Saturn? Now there are millions and millions of jobs nowadays. It's not we are not limited to one particular field. So I am trying to recall the stuff as to I can tell you at most the most amount of professions that are associated with any kind of a planet. So Saturn can also make you a social worker, because since Saturn is the planet of masses, so you can be serving the society by raising your voice against the atrocities, or against the people who are subjecting those innocent people, or who are subjecting those unprivileged people to any kind of atrocities. Saturn. What else can Saturn be associated with? Saturn can be associated with anything that has to do with machinery. So a mechanical engineer can be also seen with Saturn in the 10th house. Now, completing with Saturn, we are actually left with Jupiter. What does Jupiter in the 10th house indicate? Well, Jupiter is in the 10th house is kind of a position that is to be cherished, that is to be celebrated, because Jupiter, wherever Jupiter is placed, it kind of blesses that particular house, and it gives things related to that house without you being putting in much of an effort. So if you're putting in this much of an effort, Jupiter is going to bestow on you this much. So it's the thing like that. So it's the other way around. While Saturn gives for this much amount of effort, Saturn gives you this much. Jupiter is the other way around, and both of these planets are associated with the law field. So any of those jobs where you are the attorney generals, or where you are associated with the law industry, or associated with any of the posts related to law, can be seen from both Jupiter and Saturn. And guys, other than that, Jupiter can also make you go into priesthood, make you to go into any of the professions that are related to teaching, or any of the posts at the universities or the temples. Jupiter can make you associated with any of the jobs that are related to children. So you might be a publisher, manufacturing printing the books that are of help to children. So you could be a book publisher, and what else? Jupiter could make you inclined towards any of the any of those posts wherein you are spiritually lifting the society. Any of those jobs or professions where you are associated with religion or spirituality are also controlled by the planet Jupiter. Now guys, since we have covered up with the 7 planets, we are left with the 2 nodes, and these 2 nodes are kind of Rahu and Ketu. Rahu being the north node of the moon, and Ketu being the south node of the moon. These 2 nodes are kind of difficult to decipher because these nodes are actually very much influenced by what sign they are placed in, by what planets they are aspecting, or what planets they are actually conjunct with. So if one of these nodes is placed in the sign of Aries, so it's likely going to behave like an Aries Mars. Or if one of those nodes is placed in a sign of let's say if it's placed in a sign of Sagittarius, so it's going to behave much more like a Jupiter than having a character of have its own itself. They don't have any character of themselves. They are very manipulative in nature. They kind of acclimatize themselves to the according to the conditions. So if they are placed in a particular sign, they'll behave like that. They'll behave like the Lord, that is the controller of that sign. If they are aspecting, let's suppose if there is a node Ketu that is placed in the sign of Aries, so it's going to act somewhat like Mars. And at the same time, let's suppose if Ketu is receiving the aspects of the planet say moon, then it will have some of the attributes of the moon itself, moon also, along with the planet Mars, or whichever sign it is placed in. So, but on a very general level, Ketu represents the jobs that are related to occult, because occult sciences, tantric siddhi, subjecting your body to the severe penance, going out to the lonely, secluded places and seeking the spiritual enlightenment, seeking moksha, the ultimate bliss. Because Ketu is a planet which governs what we have already accomplished in the past life, and in this life we are no longer concerned about that thing, since we have already mastered that thing in the past. So Ketu in the 10th house indicates that in the previous life you must have been very obsessed with the profession. So in this house, so in this particular lifetime, you may have all the traits all the business acumen, or you may have it all to make it big in the society as far as career is concerned, but it's something that you are not interested in, since you have already conquered it in the past life. So it kind of drives you, especially in the Ketu period. These people can go to the mountains, or they can altogether leave the materialistic side of the life and seek spirituality, moksha, or many of these people become monks at some point in their life. Now, and Rahu is a planet that is all about breaking the norms that are being established in the society, and it can be a negative planet or it can be a positive planet, depending upon the aspects it is receiving, which sign it is placed in. But Rahu is a planet which is all about questioning the religious dogmas, questioning the norms and practices that are associated in the society. It's all about that why should I do this thing this way? Why can't this thing be done this way? So it's kind of very positive in nature, or it could be negative in nature too. But Rahu kind of makes you a very scientifically oriented person. You are questioning everything, and this is a prime prerequisite for somebody who wants to be very intellectual, somebody who wants to be scientifically oriented. So many of the people who are scientists, researchers, who are inventors, discoverers, are seen with Rahu in the 10th house. Many of the people, and since Rahu is the planet of mass communication to the masses, so any of the jobs related to the media and communication can also be associated with the planet Mars. And Mars, like Mercury is also a planet of sales and marketing, and it is a much shrewd, much manipulative, much more intelligent, much more manipulative a planet. It's even brighter than Mercury. It's even more intelligent and shrewd than Mercury when it comes to manipulating the stuff. When it comes to selling that piece of rag as something that was a Armani or a Van Heusen fabric. So guys, I have told you the professions that are associated with the 7 planets and the 2 nodes when they are placed in the 10th house in a particular in someone's horoscope. But there is a lot more to it, as I have already told you. Like for example, I tell you that if Moon is placed in the 10th house, I told you which all professions would you be inclined towards. So if Moon in the 10th house is placed, let's suppose in a sign of Taurus, then it is highly likely that you can become a chef, since sign Taurus governs the eating habits. So cooking is a way of your showering your love onto others who you serve food to, or you might be into the hotel industry or any kind of a service industry. While if Moon is into the let's suppose if Moon is into the sign of Virgo in the 10th house, then you could be a social worker rather than somebody who is a chef, who is associated with the hotel industry or the service industry. You could be a social worker, because 6th house is a house of the unprivileged people. So you could be a person like Mother Teresa with Moon in the 10th house and placed in the sign of Virgo. You could be a person like Mother Teresa, where you are selflessly working the society, or you could be associated with any of the social causes and with any of the NGOs wherein you are raising your voice against any of the injustices that are subjected to that the unprivileged people are subjected to. Or you could be raising your voice related to the causes that are associated with women. So you might be raising your voice, of course, in a sophisticated manner. Moon is not a planet like Mars that will roar or that will fight with a sword. Moon is all about showing its staunchness, its resoluteness, by showing a softer side, by making the other people, by convincing the other people in a very polite manner. So even if Moon is kind of turns rebellious, it's kind of a very sophisticated and soft kind of a rebellion that the Moon is associated with. So Moon in the 10th house in a sign of Virgo could show somebody who is a female rights activist and something like that. So can you see that that Moon can make you a chef or can make you go into the hotel industry, and at the same time it can lead you to somebody who is a social worker or a women activist. And the other thing that is to be taken into consideration is the fact that which particular the planet that is placed into the 10th house is the lord of which particular house. So let's suppose if Mercury is placed in the 10th house, and it is Mercury is placed in the 10th house and it is the lord of the 3rd house, then those likely professions like DJs, RJs, mimicry artists, writers, journalists, what else? TV show anchors, TV hosts, any jobs related to the media and communication industry, or that is related to business, any of those trade or businesses wherein a great amount of knack and aptitude and the business acumen is required, can be seen if Mercury is the lord of the 3rd house being placed in the 10th. But let's suppose Mercury is the lord of the 12th house being placed in the 10th, can actually make you an astrologer, can actually make you an astronomer or an astrologer, or make you somebody who is working with NASA or organizations like that, or you may be interested in UFOs, aliens, and the reason for that is that when Mercury is into the 12th house, it kind of loses its integrity. So since Mercury is all about numbers, so herein Mercury is not using its numbers in the business or in the real life, because 12th house represents wherein we are escaping the reality and going into the subconscious and the spiritual plane. So here the Mercury uses its knowledge of numbers to convey the to interact with those higher spirits, to interact with those messengers of God, and convey their messages to the people. So it's kind of make you an astrologer, an astronomer, people associated with NASA, people associated with the UFOs and aliens, as I told you, or he could be a physicist also, associated with physics. If Mercury is in the 12th house, Lord being placed into the 10th house. So can you see that how a planet being placed into science can actually make a lot of difference into the career you when it comes to actually deciding that which career you're going to go into. Similarly, the lordship of the planet that is placed in the 10th house, it is the lord of which house can also make a lot of difference. So on one place you are becoming an astronomer or an astrologer, on the other place you are becoming a mimicry artist, a writer, a DJ, an RJ, or any of the jobs associated with media and the communication industry. So guys, there is a lot of things that go into discussion. Please don't go by my words that if I have told you that Mars in 10th house will lead you to these professions, then it will be for sure, because it's too early to moreover you are still to study many of those aspects that will we be covering up in the future, and at that time you will be in the position to make an accurate judgment. So guys, this was it from my side when it comes to the 10th house in Vedic astrology. I hope this episode was quite entertaining for you people, and in case you have any queries of any sort, you can connect to me on my Facebook page, or you can place me an email on rishugargastrology@gmail.com, or you can post any of the comments down below in the video. I'll get back to you. I'll at least try my best to get back to you. Of course, I have my monetary thing that is to be taken care of. Of course, this is not my bread and butter. So, but I'll try my level best to revert back to you people. So guys, if you like me for one reason or the other, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And soon I'll be making the announcement that which is the series that we're going to be taking up next, since this was the last episode in the Houses series. So guys, on this note, this is your host RISHU GARG signing off. Take care. Goodbye. Love you people. And try to find out the purpose of your life through astrology. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Okay.